March 22nd, 2025, and I am at Lake Shetek State Park in Murray County, Minnesota. Good morning! Hello! It is time to get going. I didn't go anywhere last week because I was feeling just a smidge ill. Not ill enough that I couldn't have gone somewhere, but enough that I was like, I don't want to drive. So, I didn't. Which means that I have to go somewhere today and probably tomorrow as well, so that we can get caught up on the schedule. Oh, I might actually, my capture card might be out. I might have to go grab my other capture card before I leave. Well, that's good to know. We're going to Lake Shetek today. That's really all I gotta say. I still need to figure out what music I'm going to listen to, but actually, right now I'm going to run back upstairs and go get that other capture card because I only have 4 minutes of footage left. Yay! Okay, we're going with ABBA Gold, which I think is the first one we ever listened to as well. We need to go get gas, and then we'll go to Lake Shetek. Yay! Alright, see you when I'm there. We made it! I was lied to. It said online the visitor center was open, completely closed, so that's great. It's whatever. Anyway, we got here. I think I have decided where we want to go. First, I want to do the Loon Island Causeway Trail because that sounds really fun. And two, one thing was kind of already decided for me when I drove in, and the sign for Lake Shetek is like just nowhere near anything except for the bike trail. So I think I'm going to be hiking at least part of the bike trail so I can get down to the sign, and then I will figure out, I just need to figure out where I'm going to park to start that, because I love hiking, but I don't want to hike that many miles because I'm just not in the mood to hike that many miles. I like hiking, but it's just not that kind of day. Anyway, lake is over there. We're at the swimming beach parking lot because it was that or the boat landing, and I get the feeling you're not supposed to park there. So, let's do it. Okay, so here is the lake. Also, I feel like we should acknowledge the outfit change today. I'm finally decided I don't need to wear coat because it's the end of March. And hey, the weather may be like a little chilly for that, but it's like mid-40s. It's not sunny, but I'm still wearing layers because just a sweatshirt would not be enough, but we'll do some layers. And also, this was a sweatshirt I asked for my mom for my birthday, and she got it for me. I love it. The place that does this, they do state flowers for all the states, but not to say I have a brand, but what is the entire impetus of this channel if not Minnesota glazing? Oh shit, guys. Is it what we think it is? Is it a state park? You bet your ass it is. That's the whole fucking point. I'm sorry. It's weird to me to be wearing glasses like this. I don't know if I don't know. This is why I wear contacts. It's so Minnesota. Hey, and you know what? Every other lake we've been to, super frozen. Whee! That was so cold. The spring equinox just happened, the vernal equinox, so it is no longer winter, but barely. So, don't stick your hand in water that was so frequently frozen. Not a great plan. I think I see the causeway to our island, which does that make it a peninsula? No, but let's see. I don't know if you can see. There's Loon Island, and there's the causeway that we're heading to. We're actually on this like picnic trail because we walk this way instead of straight, but this is very fun already. And there's so many birds that we can hear. I thought I saw something moving, but it was in fact wind and tall grass. Fun fact, I was actually going to be at this state park last week, a week ago. However, there was a blizzard here then. You can't really tell now, but it would have involved me driving straight into a blizzard to come to the state park then. And I said, you know what? As much as I love the winter, I'm not that dumb. You know, if I was already here and there was like this blizzard, I'd be like, I'm still going hiking, but I'm not gonna drive into one. Like, that's ridiculous. Ooh, here's our boat launch. We got some canoes. We got some paddleboard and kayak spots, but not actually any of them here because it's, you know, winter. I feel like I've been chatting so much and we haven't actually gotten really any nature footage. We'll figure it out. Deer tracks. Tons of deer tracks that have been going here on the causeway. So, we might see some deer on the island. I keep hearing a birdie and I can't tell where she's at, but here's what I will say, because obviously, you know, there is a causeway. We are walking to this island, so it's not a true island anymore. It was until about 90 years ago when one of the WPA projects, because, you know, jobs were nearly needed, was creating causeways to all of Lake Shetek's islands, or a couple of them, all of them, 5 of them. Loon Island being one of them, and there was actually a 6th one that was started between Loon and Keeley Islands that was never completed. Ooh, look at this pretty ice. It's all like bunching up here. Yeah, so when I said that water's really cold because it was ice like not that long ago, not a joke. There's literally still ice that is being washed to the shore. So that's fun, but we are about to be on the island proper and we'll do our mile loop, and I'll be less yappy because it has already made this take longer than expected because I just keep stopping to chat. So let's get going. It's windy, my guy. I was not the only person here. A gentleman and his very cute dog were also here. Anyway, shout out to you if you see this. I forgot to ask your name. Named for Lake Shetek, whose name comes from the Ojibwe word for pelican, this park has a long history. Long before European and American settlers were in the area, Native people were in this area in pursuit of bison. In the 1830s, European and American settlers came into the area and ended up building their settlement in 1856 on the eastern side of Lake Shetek. They began clearing the land for farm development, and the area ended up being an important region during the U.S.-Dakota War during 1862. Lake Shetek lies on the Coteaux des Prairies region of Minnesota, which is clearly French but just means highlands of the prairie region, which is just a geological area that separates the Minnesota and Missouri River watershed areas. This area was created by glaciers as they receded north at the end of their ice age, which left deposits of rock called glacial till, which built hills and carved depressions throughout the landscape. Lake Shetek also lies on the Altamont Moraine Complex. Moraines are what those like hills and depressions are called from glaciers, which eventually, as the climate warmed, the glaciers receded and produced swift rivers and meltwater, which also helps sculpt the landscape. That's how we get so many lakes in this region. The rivers created channels and outwash plains. Landslides eventually dammed up the channels and the depressions filled in, which is how we get Lake Shetek. Filled in with water, I should clarify, not with like the landslide. But Lake Shetek is the largest lake in the southwestern Minnesota region, and it is the headwaters for the Des Moines River. Otherwise, the landscape of the park is undergoing restoration currently. Prior to modern agriculture, it was pretty much so completely prairie, grasses, wildflowers. After that, we start to see the introduction of trees like oak, hackberry, basswood, elm, and ash trees. However, progress is being made on a restoration front, and there are plenty of wildflowers you can see in the park in more the later spring. We're a little early for them right now, but some of those are blazing star, black-eyed Susans, coneflowers, vervain, sunflowers, and bottle gentian. As for fauna, there is quite a lot of it that you can see here if you visit. You might see white-tailed deer, fox, mink, beaver, fox squirrels, muskrat, woodchuck, and coyote. Or coyote, if you're going to be Minnesotan about it. And then the several kind of like wetland areas also are home to waterfowl, reptiles, and amphibians, some of which are coots, grebes, ducks, herons, and of course pelicans, as Lake Shetek is named after the Ojibwe word for them. Although you are more likely to see them during the summer and the fall, so I kind of doubt there's going to be any out right now. As for within the lake itself, for fish, there are walleye, northern crappie, and bullheads, as well as several islands, one of which we are on right now, Loon Island. There are other islands, and each one has a causeway that connects it to the mainland. They aren't true islands anymore, but they were up until the 1930s. The nearest town is Curry. Maybe it's pronounced Curie, but I'm inclined to say Curry simply because Curie I think only has one R. But it's 4 miles away, although if you're trying to like place like what's a nearby city, Marshall is about 30 miles away. And then if you are from elsewhere in Minnesota and would like to visit, we're gonna wait for the wind. We'll be waiting for a while. If you're thinking of visiting Lake Shetek State Park from elsewhere in Minnesota, it is located 159 miles from St. Cloud, 177 miles from the Twin Cities, and 324 miles from Duluth. Okay, I think we figured out how we're going to get to the sign, because it involves that bike trail, and there's not really any good places to like park. So, hold on. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to drive to the parking by the overlook on the Bluebird Trail, because that's only like a half mile to like the middle of the Curry Casey Jones State Trail, also called the Curry Loop, which I think where it connects pretty much joins up with around where the sign is. And then I have to hike the half mile back to the car. But 1 mile is better than 6. So I think that's our best bet. Okay, we found the parking, but it was kind of confusing to get to because the road here is a road, but it's very narrow. It's like literally you can get fit one car one way. And the parking did not have like a sign that was like parking. And also the road looked like it continued on, but then there was a very small sign that said no motor vehicles beyond this point. We figured it out because that's too far that way. Oh, that's blurry. And I think that's our lookout. So, we're gonna head to that. Look out, as they say, over, I guess, the Eastlick March. Due south on the Bluebird Trail to the Casey Jones State Trail Curry Loop, which is a mouthful. Oh, there's also a sign up here, so we'll see if we are in fact in the correct spot. And I did actually park somewhere I can, so that's a concern, honestly. Excellent, I was right. Let's climb up. Let's see what we got. All right, well that's due south. That's where we're going to be heading, but birds were not out right now, it seems. And I'm assuming that some of there's some sort of like binocular that comes out of here, but Right now there's just a can in there. So, boy, it's windy. And therethere's nothing out on this marsh right now, so if you come at the right season, you could see all these fine fellas, but it's not that season, and I've been here for a while at this point, so we're gonna stop chatting so much and get a move on. It's the Bluebird Trail because they have the bluebird houses here. We'll see if we see any. I kinda doubt it. They're all sensible and they're not flying out when it's this windy. Well, I was gonna say, but it's windy, so I'm gonna shout. You can really see from the landscape that once the wildflowers start, there will be these swaths of different colors of flowers, and you can even kind of see a little bit where some stuff like dyes like a little yellow, some was like white, some was kind of purpley, so it still has that whole thing going on, but it would look great once the wildflowers start growing. Okay, we made it onto the bike trail part. Anyway, we are now just gonna walk until we find the sign. It's kind of what we got going now, because the sign's not on the map. Probably like a quarter mile just based on like looking at it on the map, but what do I know? As we've established, I'm very bad with maps. Right there. All right, now we just have to get there. We switched to the lav specifically to hopefully minimize how much the wind affects this, but we'll see if that works out. Okay, here's what I will say about Lake Shetek State Park. I very much so enjoyed it, and I feel like I only saw a very little bit of it. I think this is a park that I would like love to camp at sometime. Like, it's very much so a park where it is like the camping is not like an afterthought. I think this is very much a spring summer park, and I'm glad I got here after the lake had thawed, because it was very fun to see like the last little bits of ice being blown ashore. Yeah, that's my review. We're back on the Blueberry Trail now, which means like a half mile straight north now, and then I'll be back at the car and I will clock out for the day. But yeah, I think that's really all I got. I will see y'all in the next one. Is that more level? Oh, you're level now. Hi. Cutie. Cutie patootie. Okay.